Guitar Dads Podcast, a podcast for guitar people by guitar dads. This week, have we failed to recognize a super talent? The wheel in the sky will stop turning in October. Another powerful release from Walrus that should excite you. And how much driving is too much? We're going on a pedalboard road trip this week on the Guitar Dads Podcast. Now, the guys with the patience of 5-year-olds in the back seat, Matt and Dave.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave, and welcome to the show. Welcome into another episode of the Guitar Dads Podcast. Thank you for joining us. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, dude? Here we are. We're back at it. Another
Back
week with
at
the
it.
Bads.
Back and better than ever. And just a quick shout out to all of our Little Oil listeners. We love you guys. Thanks for checking us out. And if you are new, as we say every week, thanks for coming in, and come back next week for more fun. And you know where to find us. Each one of the episodes you always hear at Guitar Dads Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, you name it, we're on it. And except we're not on TikTok, but that's okay.
We're not on
anyway.
We're not. Yeah, we aren't really on TikTok. That's a good point.
We're not really on TikTok. YouTube, come find us on YouTube. And you know, some people like to consume the show there. Great that we put it up. Go find us over there. And a big special thank you to all of our patrons. If you want to support the show, go over to patreon.com/Guitar Dads Podcast. We hate asking for this stuff, but you guys, you guys are really big supporters of us, and we love our current patrons, and we'd love to have some more to keep this show going. So head over there if you want bonus content, an extra episode every single week. Head over there and check it out. And we always say click subscribe, like, leave a review, all that stuff, because we know that's going to kind of help us out, and all the other podcasts that you listen to, help them out too. Do the same thing with them, will you? And here we go. All right, enough of the stuff that I hate to say. All right, it's done.
It's done.
All right.
But that's great.
It's over. All right,
that's great.
So I just want to say a big thank you to our patrons that are anyway. Let's move on.
Oh, jeez.
All right, man. We got a big week. We have a big week to talk about. All right, let's get into it.
A lot going on. Let's get in.
Where are we going?
The Dataverse.
All right, as you guys, we have landed. As you we always anytime we have bad news, we always start with that so we can kind of get through it and on to something new. Today we heard of the death of Jack Russell, of course, singer of original vocalist in Great White. I'm sure it sounds like I'm guessing maybe I don't know. I'm not going to guess because it sounded like it was an expected thing. And so condolences to those who love the dude. Of course, Great White doesn't have, the best reputation in this area in Boston, because years ago, we all remember the Station nightclub accident.
Yeah, that was them.
With the pyro and the fire that killed It killed like 100 people, right?
Like 100 people. Yeah, it was terrible. It was tragic.
And for those that don't know, there was a nightclub. They had this pyro going in this like tiny nightclub. And there were these foam. I don't remember, like, were they must have been some kind of, I forget what lit on fire, but anyway, it spread fast.
Yeah, the place wasn't to fire code. They somehow allowed pyro in it, so and then they set off this pyro. It caused a fire. There was panic, and a bunch of people died, and it was really horrible. But But now this guy died, and it's sad, and but Great White, like, let me just say, like, that was a terrible thing that happened in Rhode Island, and it's horrible. It's horrible that the band was, I mean, I don't know if you can say they were kind of to blame for it, but they had some blame to go around in the whole.
You can blame the band,
accident.
but I think you really you place the blame on two people. The fire, the fire marshal. Well, actually, no, not the fire marshal, because they I don't think they were allowing that. You place the blame on the club owner, or whoever was managing the club that night, and you place it on the crew that let it happen.
Yeah.
So
So like the band itself, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, like the band, I really like Great White. I think they have some awesome songs, some awesome albums. I would call them like a more kind of blues based um band. Like they were, they referred to this, they referred to Jack as he died, like it with their glam, and they were kind of like a glam metal band, but their music wasn't like the typical kind of glam metal stuff. To me, it was
No,
more like
not at all.
blues based rock stuff, which I thought was great. They had some great songs. My favorite one of their songs is Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Once bitten, twice shy,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. Big song.
They had so many great songs. Just a great band. This guy had a lot of style. He was really great as a singer. So, sad to see him go. But yeah. Great White's kind of a tough thing for us around here. That happened.
Yeah, anything.
So,
yep. Anytime you hear the name, it's it just kind of
Jack Russell.
that.
Jack Russell. I hope his terrier is okay after all this.
Oh Jesus. Oh man, it's way too early.
Where is it?
We're like 5 minutes into the show here, and we're already playing the Price
You don't
is
know
Right.
About the Jack Russell Terrier?
horn.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway.
Anyway,
word is the terrier is okay after Jack Russell's death. So,
well, we're talking about dogs. That's actually kind of a very unexpected segue to this next thing, because we're going to talk about. I read that Dave Navarro revealed recently that he recorded a full-length record with Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Not too long before he passed away.
Yeah,
it has not been released, but the band was called NHC. I don't know what it stands for. They released several singles apparently in 21, and we don't remember any of them. But
yeah, we're gonna have to go back and listen to this stuff.
And they released an EP right before Taylor died, and they did record this album. So it sounds like it might be getting some legs to come out, but there's not any plans currently to put it out there. So we wait. But can we talk Dave Navarro? I mean, what about he's one of those guitarists we don't ever really talk about in
Jane's Addiction. We talked about him. The Jane's Addiction was talking about like they're putting out an album or something. Is that they were in the news or they're going on tour?
They're
or
touring.
Something.
Yeah, they're touring right now. The original lineup. Yeah.
So we brought him up a few episodes back. But yeah, Dave Navarro's awesome guitarist.
Yeah, we don't ever really mention him though.
Yeah, we don't
about the greats, right?
And he was in the Chili's for a while. Yeah, that's right. When Frusciante kind of went off the deep end. One of the times Frusciante went off the deep end.
Anyway, so there you go. All right. What else we got? So we mentioned last week that we talked about Journey and we talked about the lawsuit between Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain and that ongoing saga. Well, we had said, how are they still putting on this show? How are they still putting on a great show? And all this like legal drama is just like raking the band. And well, they've canceled some dates. So they've canceled the dates they were expected to play in October in the U.K. and Ireland. So that is done.
Damn. And is that the reason why? Have they kind of said that like this internal
I think that's insinuated here. I don't know why you would cancel like a pretty much a tour over there. So
it seems like a crazy thing to do. Okay, wow.
So maybe it's going to be more serious. I mean, they have definitely reconciled before. I'm sure they will again, because when money can be made, money will be made.
Yeah. I wonder if like, the keyboardist guy is leaving and he's like, I'm not doing this tour. Like, who knows? Like we can speculate like forever about this. Right. So,
yeah, no, I mean, it's really kind of a shame how this is like, kind of tearing apart the band altogether. But I don't know. I mean, we thought this might be the case and, we are right again. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. Do you think this will like kind of rip apart the band for good?
I mean, look, the band's going to go on no matter what with Neil. And they got the singer, the dude that, sounds like Steve Perry. So like they'll roll on. I think I think there's just such a demand for Journey and Neil, is all in on it. So he'll find a way to get out
He'll
there
find a
unless
way.
he somehow is legally stopped to do it.
Well, that was going to be my
Yeah.
point. I wonder if there's going to be, because of the nature of the suit. And if you didn't listen last week, go check it out. But
Yeah.
Kane is alleging that again that Neil Sean has been maxing out the $1 million Amex card and spending way over the 1,500 per night cap they put on it in the contract. To the tune of 10,000, right? It was 10 grand a day
That's
that Neil Sean was
crazy.
accused of spending. And then somehow, now this was a rumor, and this was definitely not confirmed, but the crew was suffering because they weren't getting paid. So,
Yeah, I know. This is what we
some
talked about
really
last week. It's
weird stuff.
crazy. I don't know what's going on. So it'd be interesting to hear more about what comes out from this. But it isn't surprising with all this strife that they've canceled the tour. Dave, do you have like the announcement of the tour cancellation? Did they have a specific? Did they cite a reason?
The one that I read did not cite a reason, but I have not checked in the last couple of days.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, yeah, there it is. So we can just speculate.
There you go.
There you go.
And we do.
Well, sorry to our
a
listeners in the UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get to see Journey. I mean,
no,
something from the listeners I've talked to in the UK and Ireland, my sense is they're not going to be sad about this. But I don't know.
No,
maybe there's some big Journey fans over there. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
You guys tell us. I'm sorry if I'm pigeonholing, a whole couple of countries.
Yeah, right. We should probably go back in to last week as well and make a correction because we got called out in the group, and
which I love.
I'll tell
which
you,
I love, by the way.
I was just going to say I love it. Bring it on, because we are wrong probably 90% of the time.
Yeah,
and you guys know your stuff. So please, if we do say something that we don't know what the hell we're talking about, please call us out.
Yeah, but Dave, explain the confusion.
So last week we were reviewing the Robert John and the Wreck show that we had checked out, and of course Robert John Burleson, the singer and rhythm guitarist, plays an Eastman, and
Henry James has the signature.
Henry
Eastman.
James has a signature Eastman. Yeah. And so we were checking out. Neither one of us familiar with Eastman, and we were checking them out on the web, and we're kind of making an assumption that they were all made in California because of something we had quickly read. Well, we were wrong. They are not all made in California. A couple models are.
That's right.
But the rest are made in China. So there you go. There's your correction. And
so they came out with a new model called the D'Ambrosio, and that is made in California. But all the other models we were talking about, not made in California.
Yeah, the ones we were talking about. Yep.
Yeah, not.
So thank you for calling us out.
They're made in China. Yes. And thanks for that. So we're correcting ourselves. It looks like, Henry's signature, all those Les Paul kind of copies we discussed, all those are made in China. Eastman claims they come from, one of the best, guitar shops in China. I mean, maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. I don't know much about Eastman guitars. Never had hands on one. To us, like such a serious player as Henry, having a signature with these, to me speaks a lot about these guitars. So I'd love to get hands on one, try one out and see, what it is, because, it does change the conversation that we had, because we were saying, oh, this is such a value, blah, blah, blah. And when you think about, well, these are high-end guitars, high-end prices, made in China, that's kind of a lot to swallow. But
for Chinese made guitars, they're pricey.
Yeah. So one of the comments I made though is, the way they're spec'd out is more like a custom shop kind of spec. And you could say like these guys are doing custom shop level stuff. Again, I don't have hands on them, but for this kind of price, it kind of better be like $2,800 for, a Les Paul style. It seems like it's more of an R9 style, if I'm honest, the way that it's spec'd out. Anyway, so that's about what it is. So anyway, you can draw your own conclusions. If you guys own one of these Eastmans, let us know. Let us know what's going on. To me, like, these Les Paul kind of copies that they make, at $2,000 and, for the really nicer ones up at $2,800. I mean, I would just buy a used Gibson at that point. But again, I don't have hands on these. I have no idea. Maybe these things are really kind of unbelievable. So
yeah. So yeah, no, I was sorry. I was scrolling through something as you were talking about that. I was trying to look for who called us out in the group, and I got to go back. I think was it David Lucas?
I think it was David Lucas. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. We appreciate it. Honestly, seriously, we're not like effing around here. If we say something that's not true, you guys call it out, will you? Please, thank you.
Somebody, jeez. All right.
Yeah. So there you go. All right.
Moving on.
I guess we'll anyway, this week's dad joke of the week is brought to you by no one.
No one again.
Guys, send us jokes.
Jeez.
Matt, this is gonna be one of Matt's favorite jokes of all time on the show. Matt, I just found out my countertops are slate. Yeah. I've been taking them for granted the whole time. Oh man! Oh, that that deserves a thanks, guys. Oh, there we go. Good.
Don't take them for granted.
Don't take them for granted.
And
granted,
for all intents,
this is like one of Matt's favorite things to say.
Yeah, from all intents and purposes, and I couldn't care less. Or sorry, I could care less.
I could care. Well, if you could, then
I could care less. Well, then you obviously care a little, somewhat. Anyway. I love those. I love those things. There's a name for that I'm not remembering. There's a name for like misspoken, like, idioms like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Well, what else we got? All right. Going through. Yeah, we got kind of moving through a little quicker tonight. So this is like throwing me off.
Are we? Well, we got to do Copper Sound. Copper Sound.
Yeah, we're going to do, Did you know? Well, obviously, you just mentioned it. This episode of the Guitar Dads podcast is sponsored by Copper Sound Pedals. We love these guys. We know you love these guys.
Yeah.
They're a boutique pedal company building unique effects pedals by hand right here in our home state of Massachusetts. And today we are putting the spotlight on the Strategy V2. All right, you want to talk about a pedal that looks fresh and unique while also being recognizable to pretty much every single guitarist in the world? Let's talk about Copper Sound Pedals Strategy. This is a highly powered 2-channel guitar preamp pedal. There's a sexy word there, preamp.
It is
with an overdrive mode. Yeah, it's super sexy. And it is based on an audiophile grade Burr Brown op amp. Whether you like your preamp clean or slightly gritty, the Strategy has you covered. It also features smart bypass switching to allow the player to achieve latching or momentary operation. Also, can we just talk about how these guys offer a customizable enclosure? I mean, seriously, like this and the Broadway, you can get these things customized. They have tons of options. So if you have like a certain,
it is cool.
If you're playing your favorite Strat and you want that same color tone on the pedal, they can do it. For our listeners, if you type in dads 10 at checkout, you are going to get 10% off. So there you go.
So there's something that we just have to tack onto this ad. This is hot off the press. So the Gravity Bomb from Copper Sound is back in stock. So Dave, do you have the Gravity Bomb list there? You can just read that off extremely quickly, because this is an awesome pedal and it hasn't been in stock for a while. And literally Alex just texted us and he was like, Gravity Bomb back in stock. It's a boost. It's an awesome boost.
Okay. It's a boost. Yeah.
And it sounds great.
Yeah,
it's
the Gravity Bomb
boost.
V2. Yeah, it's a clean boost. It's just an updated version of their V1, and it's got a 3-way toggle to control the mids. The center toggle position, just like Gravity Bomb V1, maintains a flat and neutral EQ curve. In the down position, you get the mids boost at 750 hertz, and in the up position you're up to 1K.
There you go.
So it
There's
makes
the
this
specs
thing
on it.
like it's a super good tool for for that function, for that application.
I just wanted to make
And
sure we got it in for this week because they just came back in stock. And well, for you, the
yes,
listeners, go get yourself one. Dad's 10. And there you go. Check out Copper Sound pedals.
yeah, it's great, and they're only like I think they're only like $129.
Yeah,
And
129.
listen, I just want to say, and I know you agree, I think the boost pedals are kind of underrated, right? I don't think we
Especially
talk
a
about boost
clean
pedals
boost.
enough.
Like
Yeah,
everybody, we're going to talk about this one a little bit later in the podcast, I think, but everybody
yep,
wants overdrive and they
yep,
want some level of dirt on top of it. But what if you feel like you have an awesome rhythm tone and you think that, you have this cool, like dirty rhythm tone and you just want it louder for the solos?
yeah.
Well, this is a good way to do it, bro. There you go.
Or in this case, you just want, a couple songs, or, certain parts of songs, you want to boost the mids, you want to like change the
Yeah.
tone slightly. This is a great pedal to do it with.
It's
But
not just
just in
like,
general,
yeah, like the tube screamer that just bumps up the mids,
right?
like it's just that. Like this will do a clean boost if you want it,
Yeah, there you go.
just a clean boost. I think it is. I think it's a little bit of a kind of underrated thing that not a lot of
It
guitarists
really
use.
is. Or if you just like, riding a great amp tone and you really don't want much over it, but you just want to kind
Yeah.
of push it a little bit,
Just
like
push it a
clean
little
boost,
bit.
baby.
That's kind of
That's
what I
it.
mean. Push the volume in the front a little bit, so maybe you get a
Yep.
little more, kind of saturation. But yeah, I think the clean boost is great. So anyway,
All right. Well, there you go. So moving on. We wanted to get to this last week, but we did not have a chance. In our listener mailbag segment, we got a comment from Dan Horrigan. Dan has sent us some stuff before, so thanks, Dan, again. Great question. And this is kind of like the holy grail of
yeah.
questions in a way for the guitarist who loves pedals. How many is too many with regards to drives? Matt?
Oh, geez. I mean, I just said it. Like everybody wants drives. No one can ever get enough drives because they're so much fun. So, like, let's start there, Dave. Like, what is it about drives that just wants us to try out every flavor of them? Right? It's
Well,
like ice
it's
cream.
just
Like you
that.
want to keep
It's just
trying
that.
different flavors.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. I think we all, never mind like the hype when some of these things come out, we get excited, but I think there's different flavors of drive. We all know what they are. And I think one of the coolest things that you can do is just kind of screw around by figuring out what stacks well.
Yep.
And I think if you have if you're, I'm not a gigging musician, you guys know that, but if you're running, if you're playing a certain type of music and you're running a small board, it's really a great thing to have, like, probably two or three drives on there, so you can kind of stack your gain for like the purposes Matt just talked about. If you don't have a clean boost and you kind of just want to push something for a solo, or you need
Yeah.
a different flavor for a song or a part, it's just one of the most fun things I do is just like screw around with all my drive pedals and like see what goes well with what, and like
Yep.
fidgeting around with knobs. I think it depends, Dan. I think if you're a gigging musician, it depends on the gig. If you're a hobbyist or just kind of or you're just screwing around at home with a home board, there is no such thing as too many drives.
I mean,
Buy
you
them all.
could, yeah. I mean, look, I think having at least one of every major flavor of drive makes a lot of sense, and you can screw around with things. Do you need? Of course, nobody needs all these things, but Dan's asking how many is too many. That's a personal question for everybody, right? Like for some people, that
Very
might be
personal.
a
I'm
hundred
blushing.
that might be 100 drive pedals for some players, and some players it's like five is too many. Now if you're asking me how many is too many on a board, I mean, I think if you got more than three drives on a board, you're kind of pushing it a little bit, but that's
Yeah,
just me
yeah, yeah.
personally, my opinion, because you can get, depending on what you're doing, um You can
Yeah,
probably
it
get
depends on
there
what
with
you're
a few
doing.
different drives. But look, if you want to travel with a giant board and you want 10 drives on there just because you want to have a slightly different sound for every song or whatever you're doing, fine. And like they said, if you're just at home screwing around, go look at Dave's board. He's got like 25 drives on there.
Yeah, but that's like a home, screw
Yeah.
around board. I've actually
Yeah.
shrunken it down a little bit. I got a few now, but
Yeah.
I will say this though: if you're gonna be dumping a bunch of drives on your boards, make sure, you really got to make sure you're getting the right power supply, make sure you're
Yeah.
buffered correctly, all that stuff, because you're gonna lose so much if you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, you need it
You
buffered. And
know?
then if you're going to stacking drives, you're going to
Yeah.
get noise. So some kind of
Yep.
noise gate is going to be
Some
important
kind of
too.
noise gate might be important. Yep.
Yeah. So, but I think, have at how many drives is too many drives. I mean, geez, how many drives does one person need? However many they have plus one.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is like how many drives do you need to own just in general, it's like as many as you want, right? But if you're gonna put them on a workable gigging
Yeah,
board,
exactly.
it obviously depends on what you're playing. But I think
Yeah.
Matt's right. Like you start stacking too many of these things on, you're dealing with a ton of noise, maybe some tone suck. It's you don't want to make your tone a mess. That's why this is what I'm saying about having fun screwing around with stacking drives and just being able to see what works with what. Because
Well,
not every
yeah.
drive, not two drives. Some two drives don't get along well, right?
I'll tell you what I have on my gigging board. I have a tube screamer in the form of the Bunzai. I have a Klon in the form of a Tumnus, original Tumnus, and I have a Bluesbreaker thing in the form of the Wampler Pantheon.
Yeah.
Right, so like those are my drives, and I use them all in different combinations and stuff. I actually don't stack drives with my with um with the gigging board because I'm playing into what's essentially a dirty amp, so I use it to just make the dirty amp a little bit dirtier. Um,
Yeah.
is what I do. And yeah, so that's that's what I do. So for me, that to me is a good mix. I don't feel like I need more than that, but you might, especially if you're someone that's getting dirty tones just using a fully clean amp. I think that's something that I don't really relate to a lot because I use a clean amp for a clean sound, and maybe I'll
Yeah.
put like a Klon in front of it just to have like an overdriven clean sound, but not like a dirty. If you're someone that you're asking specifically about drives, I would say then you're getting into distortion. Like you probably, if you're really going to play some heavier stuff using a clean amp platform, you probably need a distortion of some kind. But like Dave
Yeah.
said, you could stack some drives and get that complete
You can get
distorted
that as
sound
well.
as well. So,
Well, you make a good point about the amps because a lot of these you do see some big boards out there, but if you're running two different amps, like you said, maybe you have a really good clean amp and you need certain drives that work well with that amp, and then you're running something else dirty, and you just want to kind of beef that up a little
totally.
bit, then you're
No,
gonna need a different pedal for it. So that could be another reason that you're traveling and you're loading up your board with tons of
there's
drives.
so many
So it really
reasons.
depends. So
Yeah.
many reasons.
But I think it
But
is true.
good
Like
question.
people that use a clean pedal platform amp as the basis for this, you're going to probably want more drives because
You need more.
you're
Yeah.
probably stacking. If your drive pedals are giving you all of your dirty sound, then you probably want some more options there, right? So I get it. Like I get that's why people might have 5, 6, 7 drives on their boards. Um, but for me, like I like to my style is more. I like to start with a dirty sound I really like in the amp, and which is usually a Marshall style thing, or unless I'm using my amplified nation, then it's like the Dumble style kind of dirty sound.
Yeah, what do you like to put on that?
And then on the Dumble, I
Yeah,
put Tube
what do you
Screamer
play
on
with
it.
on that?
I put everything
Yeah.
on it. I mean, I love the clones in front of pretty much everything. I love the clones in front of clean. I love the clones in front of dirty, or like just kind of dirty, like crunch. I love the clones in front of pretty damn dirty. Like clones for me just work with everything. And to some extent for me, tube screamers work with everything as well in those same contexts. So, I love tube screamers. I love clones. So I think they work incredibly well and you can dial them in for pretty much any amp. But so for me, it's either a clon or a tube screamer type of thing. But I've also used, I have the Morning Glory here on my home board that I run through both my Amplified Nation and the Marshall. It sounds great. If you have a great drive pedal like those that I've named, like you can pretty much make them work with any amp, in my opinion. That's what makes a really good drive pedal, honestly. So distortion's a different thing. Like distortion, you didn't ask about distortion. You asked about.
Well, it's kind of fun. Well, that's a drive. That's a drive. It's kind of funny though, because I think as I go through this journey, I've become less attracted to distortion specific pedals.
Yeah.
And more into just various gain, what you consider quote unquote overdrive. I know distortion is drive is gain, but and just being able to stack some of that and getting similar kind of distortions, but it's a little bit cleaner. It's not as muddied if you do it the right way.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is. I'm actually selling a couple distortion pedals because I just don't. I mean, I like them, but I just really don't use them anymore.
Yeah, you probably don't use them because you rather just stack the overdrives. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
So, it's a journey. It's a journey, not a destination.
It really is. Well, there you go, Dan. Hopefully that answers the question, which is kind of a rhetorical question anyway. So we gave you some rhetoric.
It's a good question. There you go. Well, speaking of journey, let's go on that.
Yeah, where are we going? Oh.
We are heading into the gas station.
Oh.
Let's pull into the gas station, Matt. Gotta load up that tank before we hit our road trip. This is a new segment we tried last week. Let's do it again. Maybe last week Matt wasn't really gassing for anything.
Well, I was talking about the Gibson acoustic.
The Gibson acoustic,
that
but
gas
you're
isn't
not really
really
gassing
going away.
for that.
That gas isn't really going away.
You're not really gassing for it because you haven't.
I haven't bought it yet. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I don't believe you.
But what about you, Dave? Did you come up with some new gas?
Yeah, well, I said I wasn't gassing for anything, but
you did. You did say
very
that.
Little, very a lot changes in a couple days. I kind of want to put together, and maybe I'm just going to use what I have, but I would need a smaller board for this. I do want to kind of put together a board that's just kind of give me that 80s hair metal tone. So that's not really gassing, but I mean, that's kind of what I want to do.
So what would that entail? Let's talk about that for a couple of minutes, man.
Yeah. I mean, I have, I have a couple of pedals that aren't sitting on a board at all right now. I love the MXR analog chorus. I love that pedal a lot. It's not sitting on a board right now. And I also took off that Walrus Eris pedal, that distortion, that five option distortion. It's a great pedal, but it's noisy, so it was not living happily on the other board. And I think I might be able to use that because you can blend in your dry signal with that.
Yeah, that's a cool pedal.
It doesn't have to be. Yeah. So I think I could use that as well, and maybe and put the flanger on there, and maybe just be done with that. What do you think? Maybe what else would I need? Maybe the other phaser I have sitting around, throw that on there too.
Yeah,
so
I would say a phaser,
flange, chorus, and then distortion /
and then distortion gain, or you could throw for me it'd be if you're playing into an already dirty amp.
That's what I would be playing.
Yeah, if you play into one of the Marshalls, then I would put a tube screamer on there too.
Oh, geez.
But like I said, I put a tube screamer on everything, so that's just me.
You do.
But I would do that. Yeah, I would do that.
The tube screamer for you is like ketchup for kids.
I just put it on everything. Put it on everything.
Right? Yeah.
But I would put a tube screamer on that too. But I think the Eris is a great sounding kind of distortion drive. I think it's a great choice. And with those different effects like chorus, like the modulation type of effects and phaser and, flanger, which, I don't use a lot, but you can definitely use it.
I need a delay. I do need a delay on there, right? So I just got to figure out what to do because my...
so you do need some just totally time-based stuff. So
my
you
Fender,
need delay.
Fender, what the heck is it the mirror image, the Fender mirror image? That thing's dead, I think. I think I need to...
Really?
I don't know what the hell happened to it.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't work.
It
I've
died,
tried
huh?
it separately. I plugged directly into that to an amp, and it doesn't want to work. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, I don't know. You have to get it fixed.
Well, anybody listening to this in the Massachusetts area, let me know where I can send a pedal to like get it like taken a look at. I guess I could open it up and see if anything's fried, but then
pedals are cheap to ship. You can ship it anywhere in the U.S. There's so many people.
Yeah, I know.
That know how to build
do
pedals.
I really want to waste my time with that? I might as well just buy another
maybe
cheaper delay.
Yeah.
Like
anyway, but yeah, I would highly recommend a delay included somewhere in the chain there.
A digital delay.
Yeah, digital, analog, whatever delay. Whatever you like.
All right.
But you need delay.
So let's get back to this acoustic, because I don't know if this qualifies for gas, because you haven't made a move on it. You haven't gone to the store.
Yeah, just because it's like thousands and thousands. Well, it's like thousands and thousands of dollars, and I don't really, unlike the other guitars.
Has that stopped you before?
Well, unlike the other guitars that I recently acquired, I don't really have like things that I'm willing to sell to fund this acoustic. So therefore I just have to come up with the money. And
why don't you sell your other Les Paul? You almost sold that to me.
Yeah, I would consider it, but I still kind of like it. So maybe I would part with it for a nice acoustic. Guitar. Yeah, it's still a great guitar, and it's like my Slash guitar, so I kind of like it. So I'm hesitant, but maybe that's a good point, Dave. Maybe I'll come around on parting with that, and because it looks like I could probably sell it for almost what I paid for it, a little bit more, and that takes the edge off of a multi-$1,000 acoustic. So
is it going to see playtime?
Yeah, well, that's why I haven't pulled the triggers. I'm like, I don't know. I spent a lot of time down here playing electric. Do I really need the acoustic? Although my daughter, is getting into playing acoustic, and she came to me. Get this. You guys are going to love this. She comes down to me the other day, and she goes, I can't get the strumming pattern right for Wonderwall.
Oh, man.
She likes Can you imagine a 14-year-old girl liking Wonderwall?
Hey, good for her.
She loves it. And I played it for her, and she's like, I can play that. I know, like, you taught me enough chords where I can play that. And she was trying to play. She's like, I can't get the strumming pattern for Wonderwall. So I showed her a couple more times, and she got it. Now she's like strumming Wonderwall.
There you go. Now that's going to drive you freaking nuts.
But it would have been cool if I could like have a guitar that was acoustic, and show her instead of having to be like, all right, hand me your acoustic. Let me do it. Yes, she could have come down here. I could have plugged in a guitar and played it for her electric. But, it'd be nice if I had like a really nice acoustic and I can keep it upstairs and we can be playing acoustic around the house. But, that's how it goes.
Yeah, you could. So that's the benefit of that acoustic. You could just leave it hanging on a stand upstairs.
Yeah.
I
could do a lot of things. I could buy a very cheap acoustic, or something that's not, multi-thousands of dollars, but that's not how I roll apparently. So there you go.
Listen, this is not how you roll. You need to spend at least $2,000 on something for you to be happy.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, if I bought like an Epiphone, or if I bought, there's so many awesome lower priced acoustics. They really
There's so many great There's so many great Martins.
There's lower priced Martins,
like under $1,000, you can get some.
Yeah. There's like Breedlove. There's so many other great brands out there, and I played them and they sound good, they feel good, but then it's like, oh well, I kind of wish I had a Gibson. It's terrible.
Yeah, you're gonna want
it's terrible.
I just can't believe you're off the Taylor train. This is kind of amazing to me, because you were so committed.
I was on it for a long time, but I wasn't really super into gear in those days. So
yeah, and you just don't, and you can't fall in love with the Martin, huh? You just like the
played
tone,
one,
you like the feel of the
Martin. No, look, I played a D28.
D28
at Guitar Center is just really, really nice. And it's just, I don't know. Then I played the Gibson right after it, and I just kind of like the Gibson's vibe a little bit better. So
is it the headstock? You just like the name of the headstock, don't you?
Oh, it's the whole vibe, right? That's part of it. Yeah, of course. I mean, what am I going to say? No, of course I care about it.
Of course, you're not going to say no to Gibson.
Come on. So,
all right. Well,
that's gas.
Shall we move on? That's
gas. Let's move on to there's some stuff happening in the gear world we should probably touch on.
Yeah. So if those who are on the tubes, everybody must know who Rabia Masad is.
Oh yeah, he's
If
awesome.
you are anywhere on the guitar world on the YouTube thing, or what are you doing? Clicking around there? I see the thing like moving on my screen.
Oh, maybe.
It's like um. Anyway, yeah. So
Don't pay no
he, you
attention
know,
to the
he.
man doing things in the notes thing.
That's right. He when did these things come out? When did the Ernie Balls come out? His signature guitars come out. It was a couple years ago, maybe. But
No,
they
no, no. They
did
just
announce
came out this past
was
year.
it just
Yeah,
recently
like
in the
6 months or
last year?
so,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They just came
Oh,
out.
that's it, huh?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And they're
Well, then
awesome.
that was
And
quick.
they're mega
Yeah,
bucks.
they
They're
look
like
cool.
four
Mega bucks.
grand or something.
Yep.
Yeah. But we talked about him on the
They
pod.
look killer.
Really nice. But he's saying there's going to be a Sterling version.
There's going to be a Sterling version coming out.
Nice.
And I think there's still those are still going to be kind of pricey, but if you
Nah,
like
really,
that kind of
they're like
guitar,
sub 1,000. No, the Sterling
no, they're
stuff.
not. It's not going to be. It's probably going to be like 12.99 or fourteen
Oh,
ninety nine.
okay.
I
All
think
right.
for that level
Well, okay.
guitar.
That's
Still not
great.
bad price for what you get.
Yeah, that's still pretty good. And people love the Sterlings. So,
I forget which. I played a Sterling signature at Guitar Center a number of months ago. I think I mentioned on the show. The pickup selector is just like it's in a spot where if you're not careful, and I shouldn't even say careful. If you hit it hard enough, you're gonna slice your freaking hand open. It's just in a bad part, a section of the guitar.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd be curious. I haven't taken a look at Rabia's Sig in a little bit, so I wonder what those. I got to remind myself what those look like a little bit, but I do remember them looking like super cool.
Oh, yeah. They
Um,
look awesome, man. Um,
if you want to play that kind of style of music and that high gain kind of shit, I mean,
and they just look, I
this
mean, I
is like
bet
a
they work well
machine.
for not high gain stuff. I mean,
Oh, I'm sure
Rabia plays everything.
he does.
He's incredible. Yeah, he's mainly known for playing heavier music, but if you watch his demos, the guy can play everything. He
Yeah, he
can
can
just
play
play
everything.
everything, and he's unbelievably good. Yeah, I just pulled him up here. Here we go.
You got prices.
Here we go. Rabia's Sig. Yeah, $4,000.
Yeah, well, yeah, but over do you have a price on the Sterling
Oh
yet?
no
Are
no
they
no
gonna?
no no
Well, they
no.
haven't been. They have been confirmed, but they're gonna release them. But we don't
No,
have
I
any
don't
kind
think
of
they have
rumored
like all
price,
the
right?
specs in them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they are really nice for $4,000. But these are when we talked about them, these are really nice.
Yeah, they
They have
look
these
beautiful.
beautiful
I'm
kind
looking at them
of,
now. Yeah.
I don't know if it's flame maple top. I think it's a flame maple top. They're just beautiful looking. He's got the custom pickups in them, custom neck carve. Like they're just the colors are just so cool too. So
They're stunning tops,
anyway,
though. I
so
just
yeah,
love
I'm
these.
actually
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what they come up with. This beautiful like kind of, I guess it's a flame maple neck too. I mean Sterling, not Sterling, but Music Man just makes these ridiculous necks. You're right. They're just so great. But anyway, this is a cool one. So interested to see what they do with the Sterling. I think they've had some very successful Sterling releases. Like the probably the most popular one is the James Valentine, which people still say is a great guitar. The Sterling version of the Valentine, not just the Music Man one, which is also awesome. So there you go.
Well, there you go. All right, Matt, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Yes, of course you're sitting down. I'm watching you.
Yeah, you can see me sitting here.
So this is, sit down. This is a very sexy topic. Make sure you've contained yourself here. We're going to talk power supplies.
Oh,
Okay.
geez, here we go.
And we don't normally talk about power supplies in depth on this show, but and especially with gear releases. But I think this kind of answers a question that some of us have had. And, what are you going to use? And you go through the complicated, having to
Yeah.
use adapters and everything else. Well, Walrus has solved one of these problems. Walrus is within their Canvas line, and which also includes some power supplies. They put out the Canvas Power HP.
Nice.
And this is kind of marketed towards like the modelers, like the Stomp and the Cortex.
Cool.
Particularly, I wanted to bring this up particularly because of the Stomp and that ridiculous like freaking like power issue that everybody has. You either use the
the
crazy,
chocks.
yeah, well, yeah, you either use a stupid thing that they give you, which has like a massively like rectangular, like uncomfortable, like just awkward power supply, or you figure out like how to, adapt it to another one. So this actually has a 3A output.
A 3A,
3
so a
amp output.
3,000 milliamp,
Yep,
3 amp or
3,000 milliamp
3,000 milliamp
output.
output, which
Yep.
is that enough to power the Stomp?
And that is enough to power the Stomp.
Very cool.
And so you ask, do you still need the stupid Line 6 adapters to be
No.
able to get this thing to the Stomp? No, you do not,
No, you
because
do not.
this comes with a 2.5 millimeter reverse and standard polarity option. So you get all those cables in there, so you're good. So this is a great option if you're running like an EHX Stomp with a Cortex or whatever. So
very cool. This
I
is
just thought
exciting.
it's kind of cool. It is kind of exciting.
It is kind of exciting.
It's a pedal board solution that aggravates a lot of people like you, like me, that own HX Stomps and because of the power issues.
So this could be what you need for your if you wanted to build an 80s board with with the Stomp.
This is true. Yeah, with this. I could use the Stomp. Yeah,
3A. So it's got the 3 amp in one port and 500 milliamps in 3 ports.
In the other 3.
So it's not like you're getting like a 10, bunch of different things.
Like, no, it's small.
It's small, but I think that's really cool, especially like for a small HX Stomp board. Like this is absolutely perfect, right?
Yep.
Really, really.
And I think
cool.
let's be honest. It's not like it's the hardest thing in the world to grab an adapter and figure out grab a like a DC.
Oh, people have been doing it forever.
Pick up an adapter. People do it all the time, right? But this just kind of, if you just purchased one of these, a modeler like the Stomp, and now you need a power supply for your board, this is what you should get.
Yep. He says it's going to begin shipping. It says on the website it's going to begin shipping on August 20th. So if you're listening to this,
coming around the corner
when it's released, that's a couple of days. So there you go.
There you go.
Cool. Good job, Walrus. We had Walrus CEO.
Yeah, we had Colt Westbrook
on the podcast. Go listen to that. Cool guy, cool company.
Yeah.
And giving the people
they're
what they
doing
need.
some really cool stuff.
Giving the people what they need right now.
And I think that's kind of his philosophy too with the company, is like, okay, yeah, we want to come up with cool and interesting things, but also what do people really want,
Yeah.
And so there you go. Enough talk about power supplies. All right.
They're exciting.
Are we up on time? Or what's going on?
We're close. We're close.
Should we go to the Patreon?
Let's
soon?
jump to the patrons.
Do you want to talk about these Gibson Custom Shop Artisan series guitars real quick?
Yeah,
or
let's
do you want
talk
to talk about
those
these on the Patreon?
Well, let's give them.
All right.
Let's give them a little bit of time because there's not much to them.
No, I just thought this is before we started recording. I saw a post on Instagram. Gibson Custom. Yeah, Jesus. Gibson Custom Shop putting out these artisan series. The ones in the picture were these like the Theodores. I think that's what it looked
They're
like.
Theodores.
Like
yeah, that's what they are.
Yeah. And they were kind of puke worthy. I don't know.
Dave hates them. They are. Well, it's Theodores. It's Gibson Theodores with a bunch of different pickup configurations.
So there's that.
We have one with the P90 and a humbucker, or P90 and humbucker, one actually it looks like there's 3 of them with P90 and a humbucker, and then one with just, I guess they all are. I'm looking closely. They all have a P90 in the neck and a humbucker on the bridge, and they all have Bigsby's. I don't think the original Theodore has that on it. And they have like this ridiculously heavy relicing on them, like to the point where like the whole like upper like part of the body is like the paint is all chipped off. So I don't know, maybe that's your thing. Fender puts out stuff like this all the time that people really go nuts over
all the time.
So I mean, I don't know, it's kind of cool. Look, we were just texting today about the Theodore, about how I just don't like it at all, and then these pop up, and the Theodore is just not my thing. It's a weird shape, the horns are weird, not my thing. But some people might find it cool and quirky, and now they've made them even more quirky. But these are kind of one of a kind, made by master artisan luthier Leo Scala. I don't know who that is, but apparently he's a master artisan, iconoclastic luthier is what Gibson's calling him. Maybe he is. I don't know him, but maybe he is. And you know, I'm crazy and I should know him. But anyway, really crazy looking things. Maybe you're into these, you know. I know that collectors like go berserko over these kind of one-off things.
So, yeah, of course.
I'm sure they'll sell these things and make a bunch of money, and that'll be that. So there you go. It doesn't say in the Instagram post how much.
No, but you know, you gotta imagine these will be like ridiculous money because of what they are, right? They're limited. They're, you know, like you said, they're really geared towards like that collector / person who like loves super relic guitars, and you know, these are kind of in that realm. So I think they're going to be mega money.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they just don't. Maybe it's because it's the Theodore shape. You know, that would look terrible also if it was like a Les Paul shape too. But maybe it's because a Theodore just like doesn't jive with me.
Yeah.
Although you said that when you started talking about this earlier, I was thinking the Theodores have kind of grown on me a little bit. Like I don't dislike them as much as I did recently, you know, a few months ago.
Yeah. Maybe. But you know, maybe if I had hands on one, it would be a different story, but I'm not, I don't know, not my thing. Not my thing.
Yeah, it's not
as of now.
Not my thing.
So anyway, there you go. Gibson Custom Shop Artisan Series. More ways for Gibson to come up with crazy expensive guitars that collectors will probably buy in a second.
That's right. So, all right. Well, as we are coming up on time, one last shout out to our patrons, because that's where we are going over to Patreon. So if you want an extra bonus content alert, if you want extra content and an extra episode, come join us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/GuitarDadsPodcast, and you can join up and get that. And otherwise, find us at Guitar Dads Podcast on Instagram, Threads. What else? X. Come join
YouTube,
the Facebook
everywhere.
group. We're having lots of fun in there. YouTube. And also make sure you're right there right now. You're on your phone. You're listening to us. Look down, click the like or the subscribe or leave a review or a rating or one of those things. If you could do it, we would love it, because that would really help kind of boost this show and allow us to bring the content that we want to bring to you. But otherwise, I think for now, that was this week's Guitar Dads Podcast.
That's it. Keep rocking live.